Hey everyone, welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and today we want to dive into some Canucks controversy. Yes, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, and you're like, what? RevTrev, are you actually going to go there tonight? Are you going to go there? And yes, I'm going to go there because what I'm finding is in Canuck land, we're doing a little bit of, I don't know, we're not hitting the panic button. But we are frustrated with this team. And it's kind of interesting because in the standings where we are right now compared to last year, we're very similar. Very similar. And it just seems like we're feeling like the world's a little bit falling apart for our team. And it's interesting. It's absolutely interesting to see what the fan base is doing tonight. And I'm not tonight, but lately. And so I did want to bring up this video, and this is the big question we're asking is this year, not last year, but this year, is Coach Rick Tocchet terrific or terrible? Because it feels like the fan base is kind of divided. You have people who are really mad at Rick Tocchet, and then other people are very defending him and saying, hey, he's a good coach. I don't understand why people are acting this way. And I get it. I get both sides of the argument, both sides of the coin. Now, you know me. I try to do passionate, realistic, and honest Canucks content. So I do want to take an honest look at this. But I also feel like I'm a pretty big Tocchet fan, okay? I'm very thankful that he's our coach. So I don't want to come in here pretending that I'm going to be like all against Tocchet. But at the same time, I want to take a realistic look at what he has done here and what your opinion is. I want to talk about your opinion on it as well. So I've got a number of things I want to talk about tonight, and I'm really glad you're here. Whether you're watching live right now, and you can answer that question in the live chat, or you can answer it in the comments later on whatever platform you're watching, whether it's Facebook, whether it's on X, or whether it's on YouTube. Also, you can hit the like and subscribe, and we'll go from there. Let me just hit the promo, and then we'll get into answering this question, and I appreciate you being here. All right, so the question is, this year, is Coach Rick Tocchet terrific or terrible? And I didn't say don't talk about last year, but I'm going to start by talking about last year because I know everyone's going to want to talk about that, okay? So we're going to start with last year, and then we're going to get into this year right away. So last year, Coach Tocchet turned this team around. This roster to start the year was not great. It was not great. But they won the Pacific Division. They had playoff success, and we had heartbreak losing to the Oilers in Game 7 by 1 goal. Then he won the Jack Adams Trophy, which is Coach of the Year. He was phenomenal last year. Him and Foote and Gonchar and all the coaching staff were fantastic. It was really cool to see what this team could do, and that's the thing. Is now, because of last year, because of the success, we had, what did we have? 5 stars. And then we also we just made a trade for Lindholm. So we had the most all-stars at the team at the all-star game. It was so cool to see Canucks dominate, because we had the first half was fantastic. And then the second half, let's be honest, we struggled a little bit. Pettersson really struggled. We made a lot of trades, a lot of moves. We brought in some players. Getting Zadorov was really great. Moving out Mikheyev was a good idea. We'll talk about that later. But a lot of positive things happened, even though we were struggling at the end. And part of it was something we're going to talk about in a bit. But we have an expectation now that we are a contender for the Stanley Cup. Last year was such an encouragement. We'd had such little success over the last number of years, almost decade, that it was just so refreshing to see, and said, we can build on this. Then the offseason hit. Pettersson continued to struggle, said that he was injured. Demko has been injured this whole time. We understand that. And I'm finding that many Canuck fans can't handle any criticism of our players or coaches. So it's this polarizing thing that's happening right now with our coaches and our players. And it's like, don't you dare say anything negative about Brock Besser or Demko or JT Miller or Pettersson, or, put whatever, Joshua, or, put whoever in, right? But it's not bad to have some criticism or ask questions, but let's be honest about our team and its direction. And if we're looking honestly, if we're looking critically at our team, there are some gaping holes, some things that we are concerned about, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. Because this year has been such a different story. And I think a lot of it is that we haven't had the wins that the teams that we should be beating, we aren't. And then we got blown out by some really good teams. Like the Devils beat us 6-0. We got blown away by, was it Edmonton? No, it was Tampa Bay when we first met them, 4-1. That was just like, they were way better than us. You could just see it. And everyone kind of had this negative narrative that that's what we are now, and forgot that this is a league of parity. Like the competition's insane. Nobody is trying to lose. Even though there are teams that struggle, they still can find ways to win. When we lost in Nashville, I felt like that's when everything started to really shift, and people had a real negative narrative about our Canucks. And whether it's right or wrong, it's just a fact that something shifted, that we lost those big games, and then we lost in Nashville, and it was like, okay, we're not that good. So it's been a different story this year, but I'm accrediting a lot of that to that there's been injuries and lots of drama. Now, Demko, I didn't know when he was coming back. I didn't think he would come back before Christmas. He just came back. So we're talking, yesterday was December 10th, and Demko just came back. So he's missed he played the first game of the series against the Predators, and has missed from the spring all the way to December 10th. That matters. Pettersson was injured apparently since end of January down through the to the regular season playoffs, and then into the regular season. So again, that's another one where I'm sitting there going, wow. Then JT Miller gets injured on that first face-off, didn't take a face-off for 2 or 3 games. And it's like he's struggling. Then he takes this indefinite leave of absence. Then you got Hronek, who's now out for 8 weeks. You've got, you know what I mean? Like it starts piling up. Brock Besser gets hurt. I mean, think about that. Those names that I just said, that's who's injured. That's who's struggling. That's who's having a tough time. And then the drama of trading Pettersson. He's got mental issues. He can't handle it. He's too sensitive. He's not producing for how much he's getting paid. And I think that's a pretty legitimate one there. And then the whole JT Miller thing where he's taking an indefinite leave of absence. Now, I'll tell you why there's a problem with this. The NHL and especially the Canucks have caused their own issues because they don't have to report what an injury is. They say upper body, lower body. That can mean 4,000 things. But I want to know. As a fan, I want to know. It's ridiculous that we don't tell them. And every third commercial is sports betting. And you want people to put money down on a sport. They want to know what the injuries are. That's what they want to know. They don't want to get hosed because of injuries. And so the NFL, the juggernaut of the NFL, tells everyone everything because fantasy football, sports gambling, all that stuff, people got to know. If I'm going to spend my hard-earned money on tickets, if I'm going to spend my hard-earned money to gamble and put down, I want to know, that's what fans are saying. It's like, I want to know what these injuries are. Finally, like after interviewing Demko, you find out what it is, but the team won't tell you anything. It's like, oh, because they're going to go after you if they know. Listen, how come they don't do that in the NFL? Guy's got a bad angle. They don't take his angle and rip it. They don't do that. Maybe hockey players would do that. Then there'd be chaos. There people, but players are trying to play. They're all trying to make ends meet. I'm telling you right now, not ends meet. Sorry. They're all trying to make the bag, as they like to say. They're all trying to be successful, make a name for themselves, see team success, see individual success. But I don't think they're going to go after you. It's like, oh, he has a bad knee. I'm going to go smash his knee. They might. But I think they've kind of caused their own problems, haven't they? And so because of that, our team hasn't looked as good. Let's just be honest. We've been playing without some of our stars for most of the season. That's crazy. We have not had our star goaltender, our star, it's supposed to be, Pettersson's supposed to be our star forward. Doesn't have J2 Miller, who's really our star forward, right? Those two guys are stars, right? Thankfully, we have Quinn Hughes. I'm just saying that guy's MVP. Right now in my books, he's been lights out good. He almost played 30 minutes last game. It's crazy. So I think that's one of the reasons why people are frustrated with Coach Tocchet, because all the drama, all the injuries, and that's what has affected the success. But then you've got Coach Tocchet who has people in their doghouse. So last year it was Kuzmenko, Mikheyev. This year it's been Sprong, Holglander. And it's like, there's always someone that's going to struggle. There's not everyone's going to be perfect, play perfect. But that's probably another thing is that we don't actually play 60-minute games. We lots of times play 20-minute games. And that's got to do something with the players. And that's got to do something with the coaching. And I understand that's why people are so frustrated with Coach Tocchet. And then pile on Coach Tocchet's lineup decisions, the in-game decisions like Brandstrom being taken out, and he puts in Freeman, which, hindsight 2020, I still think you should have put Brandstrom in, but like you've got to get Freeman in too. And St. Louis is as good a team as any. But the problem is you have Hronek out. You got Myers and Soucy that haven't, Soucy especially hasn't been playing well. And then Soucy goes and, in my opinion, didn't on that last goal. Like, that was terrible. That was terrible. So you're wondering, you're like, what are you doing here, man? Some of the lineup decisions you've made, I'm just surprised. And then sometimes when something's working, like, for example, was it DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Sherwood, and then you break up that line and you put Besser on it, which I get what you're doing, but why didn't you put Besser on the second line with JT Miller out? Because Besser's going to play with Miller and keep Sherwood on that top line. Why wouldn't you do that? And so when you're losing to teams you shouldn't be losing to, then all of Canuckland, any fan base starts second guessing. Now, I'm not a coach of a hockey team. I coach basketball. In fact, our team won tonight 74-58 57. But I'm not a coach of hockey, right? And I can't, it's hard for me to criticize Tocchet, but it's weird. It feels like there's something off. And another thing that people are really frustrated about is that the concerning shot totals that we're getting outshot almost every single night. And it's usually not close, or we make it close at the end. And we're not ready to start games. And that is coaching. Your team is not ready to start a game. It's not like it happened once or twice, or, we're talking out of 27 games. How many games can you say the Canucks were not ready? Can we say 10, 15? And always getting scored on first goal, the amount of times the other team looks so dominant. Now we get our legs. We look better in the second period. We look better in the third, but it takes us time to warm up. And why aren't we ready to go? So again, that's why some people think that Coach Tocchet is terrible, and he's not terrific. Now, let's again just talk about this real quick. Without Quinn Hughes' MVP play, think about where this team would be. The stats are insane, and we're just really riding on the coattails of him. And I know it's a team game, so I want to be careful because Garland's played well this year as well. Pettersson has turned it around, which is so encouraging. Lankinen has been lights out. He is lights out. Lankinen, way better than I anticipated. But losing at home, the record at home is absolutely horrendous. People are paying huge dollars to get there. He's mentioned that. You got to get some win that's at home. I love that we're road warriors. I get it. But these are things that we need to remind ourselves. Okay, just about to get into the comments. I know many of you are waiting to get to that spot. Let's talk about his last press conference or post-game conference and his comments about Pettersson, the rant he did with the media. He's like, Pettersson. It's all you guys talk about. It's so much. Every single thing. It's all Pettersson. I get what you're trying to do. You want people to read your stuff and blah, blah, blah. But can we just stop it? It's so annoying, he basically says. And then he kind of backtracks and says, I understand. I was in media. I know what you're trying to do. But, you just got to lay off with the Pettersson stuff. And I think it was it J-Pat said, well, he is making good money, and he's supposed to be one of your stars. And then he's like, yeah, but, and then he shifts his tune. And he's like, I know what you're saying. I'm sorry. It's a good question. And he starts to answer it. But you're the coach. And nobody talks after games. No one says what's going on. And here's guys who are struggling, and whether it's mental issues or a physical injury or just it's all vague. And this is what happens when it continues to be vague, when you don't say things. And this is what happens. So, you know what? Coach Tocchet, I'm telling you right now, that's what Canucks. I do streams. You know what people want to talk about? Pettersson. I want to talk about Pettersson. I wanted to talk about how he was struggling. He wasn't producing. What's wrong with Pettersson? I did all kinds of videos on it because that's what the fan base wants to talk about. I want to talk about it. And he's supposed to be your star. So you only want us to talk about him when he has a great game? Come on. We're a market that cares. So I thought that was a little weird. So is Tocchet terrific or terrible? Well, I think he's terrific, but he's struggling. What I am surprised at is how little he takes a timeout. Why does he not take timeouts? The amount of times he should have taken timeouts to help the team out, didn't do it. Now, being a coach myself for basketball, I find that one of the hardest things, getting all the kids in, playing enough time, and then the timeouts. Because in basketball, it's weird. It's not when we have the possession of the ball, I can call a timeout now. I don't know why they changed that. It's about when we're inbounding the ball, we can call a timeout. Or when there's a stoppage in play, I believe, and we have possession, which is inbounding the ball. Okay. So I don't really understand why they changed that. Why can't we call a timeout? It's weird. But why doesn't Rick Tocchet call a timeout? Here's the good news. Even though you might think that Rick Tocchet has struggled, we're still in a good spot in the standings. We will make the playoffs despite all the issues we've had and which we faced. But the question is, are we a contender or a pretender? And I think right now most Canuck fans would say, if we're honest, we're pretenders at this stage. The good news is we're 27 games in. There's a lot of hockey to play. There's a lot of opportunity to improve. And there's a lot of opportunity to get healthy. I know there'll always be injuries that you got to go through. But honestly, think about it for a second, everyone. Are we a contender or a pretender? Right now, we're pretenders. But we have potential to become contenders again, in my opinion. All right, let's dive into some comments. Going to go right up to the front here. Good evening, Marcus. Good to have you here. RevTrev isn't going there. He hit up MapQuest and printed out the directions to there. Jack is, what is going on? What is going on? We're going there, but by the time we get there, Trev will have already set up the tent and be grilling hot dogs. Yes, that's exactly what I was doing tonight. You're totally right, Michael. I disagree on this Tocchet drama. It's the defense, besides Quinn, who can pass the puck. So is that it's the players, but it's also management who thought that we could do that, right? We need another good puck moving D-man. You're right. They're just expensive. They're hard. Excuse me. I'm just yawning while that's. They're hard to find. They're expensive to acquire. And that's another reason why we haven't doing it. And they believe in the guys they got. So we'll see. We'll see. Michael says, Tocchet looks so tired these days because he's working so hard to polish the turd. You know what? You're actually right. He does look tired. How dare you criticize Tyler Myers, said no one ever. Well, I have said that a little bit where I'm like, you know what? I felt like Myers played well and everyone was still mad at him. So let me in on this, okay? This isn't Tocchet's fault, but it has to be part of his fault, right? Because Blaze friend, you're in my stream saying, why didn't he take a timeout? Why is he playing this guy with this guy? You've been saying that, but I want to hear. But this is in the cards in Tocchet's hands that he's been handed with. I agree. You can't fault Tocchet with the D-core who can't move the puck or up to other than Hughes. Brian says we need to play all our games on the road. Exactly. Freddie says New Jersey was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing game. And Freddie says, I think Tocchet's system is not translating to players. Must be better communication through all the lines to work as one. You're probably not wrong on that. Angelo says Canucks took a step back team structure-wise. Yeah, it doesn't seem like the structure is working well. Oh, and the power play is terrible, right? That's the other thing I forgot to talk about. Our power play has been terrible for most of the year, and that needs to be fixed. And how come it's not fixed by now? And the lack of shots that we had this year were also last year at the end of the year and in the playoffs. So interesting. And it's like, oh, danger chances, like the high quality chances are what he cares about. But don't you think that we just need to generate also someone getting that goalie moving, taking shots? Sometimes it will deflect off of him and in. He's not there in time, or he'll hit another player and go in. Like there's kind of stuff that happens there. It's not only like the perfect setup, the tic-tac-toe kind of thing, right? Canucks literally are ranked 30th in the league when it comes to on the rush. I mean, that's concerning. But you said it's not Tocchet's fault. You think it's a default. So it's just fine, but I think it's a combination of things. Michael says Canucks are the masters of taking a good thing, running it off the road. See DeBrusque, Pettersson, Sherwood, Branston, and Desharnais. You know, Michael, you're right. I just think the Desharnais, like people cannot stand the guy. I don't mind him. I don't mind him. Coach Rob Willie's here. Freddie says we're 1/3 into the season, kind of worried about players being too complacent and comfortable with mediocre play and results. Need to push. That's a fair assessment. Blazers fans, I'm worried about Demko. We allowed 8 breakaways on him. I don't know how long his knee will hold up with how many odd man rushes we allow. That's a very good point. Thomas Drance made a good point about the current Canuck players being too soft with media and questions. I heard that today. He totally roasted Dollywall. He was like, I'm pushing back. And I think he's right. You got to listen to that Thomas Drance rant. It's really good. It happened today on the crossover that they had. Tocchet system sucks, maybe. I don't think so, but waiting for the 5-0 blowout on home ice, only one can dream. Freddie, wouldn't that be great? Blow someone out. Apparently, reason they sat Branson was because of his height. Managers and coaching staff like tall guys than tiny ones. I mean, but I like skilled guys. Carol's here. Good to see you. Brian says Susie is playing better except OT goal. Yes, you're right. That OT goal I thought was terrible. DeBrusque also didn't try hard to get back enough. He just got on the ice. I understand what he was doing there. He had Bluger, Besser, and Susie on. I just think that's really bad. So he wanted Bluger to win the faceoff, and then he was getting Bluger off, getting DeBrusque in, but it bit them in the butt, everyone. And we lost that game because of it. And that's a coaching thing. You put the wrong players on the OT. According to the Canucks big man logic, Velmer Eriksson will make the team and spend all season on the first line. That's hilarious. I do want to see him play on the big team, though. Angelo thinks that Tocchet's a lame duck coach. On the bright side, the East Coast media that were sleeping on Quinn are starting to wake up. I agree. We're lost without Quinn. Japan 4 is in the building. Good to see you. Rome is in the building. Great to see you as well. And then I wish media would ask Coach about the timeout situation. I'm curious too. We might need to seriously consider trading Besserman. That's going to be my next video. This is going to be my next video. Doing well, thanks. Hope you're doing good too. Actually, my next video is going to be the Boston game. That's tomorrow night. No, not the Boston game. Who are we playing tomorrow night? Florida. That's my next video. Then I'm going to do one on Brock Boeser. Let's see. People are chatting to each other. Yeah, the power play entry is poo-poo. It's terrible. It stinks. The reason I'm not saying Tocchet's fault because he doesn't have a defense that's good enough to play a system. But, I mean, you've been critical of him. So tonight you've changed your tune. Interesting. Not enough speed entering the zone. I agree. Typically, it's PD fighting all 4 opposing players. Yep. Gabe is saying possibly JT Miller will be back against the Panthers. Maybe Derek Forbert and Brandstrom. I think JT Miller is going to play against Boston. That's what I think. I don't think he's going to play tomorrow night, but I hope he does. Rome says, remember how the Sedins used to gain the zone on the power play? Simplicity, but highly effective. I know. They're very skilled. Alan, good to see you. Yo, Trev, I like our forward depth. With JT back, we are good. Huge mistake on back end off-season signings. Yes, I mean, we tried to get Zadorov to come back. He got offended. He moved on, got bank and term. So congrats to Zadorov. But then the patchwork defense has not worked. It's not worked. The reigning Jack Adams winner is a lame duck coach. Not sure. I don't agree with that either. So you guys are here late. You should watch the beginning. I went on for 20 minutes regarding why people are upset about Coach Tocchet. Here's the thing before I get into this with Japan 4. I think Tocchet's a very good coach. I think he is struggling, though. And I'm okay with that. Just like players struggle, he's struggling. I think Blazer fan has a valid point. The defense, he's trying to somehow put this team together. So, yeah. Anyways, it is what it is. They need to hire a better power play coach and change the way they enter the zone. We should shoot the puck at the back wall to regain rebound chances if we can't get shots through. I don't mind that. That's good. Freddie says, off topic, Trevor, you going to any future games? I don't have anything planned yet, but I'm waiting for that fan appreciation thing, and I'm going to go to a game or two there. The one where you get the 2 tickets and a jersey, and so awesome. Okay. But I'm hoping that I get tickets at Christmas. That's what I'm hoping. This weekend, I'm going to Seattle to watch my Packers play the Seahawks. Huge monster game this weekend. Playoff implications for both teams. It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait. Going down Saturday. That's why I cannot stream the Boston, do a post-game show after Boston. But there's so many teams I'd love to see. And even San Jose. I want to see Celebrini live. I want to see Bedard live. I want to see Crosby live. But I can't. I think they're already through. I've already seen Ovechkin. I've seen Tampa Bay. They're fantastic. Did I go see Florida? I can't remember. Tocchet probably never. Oh, by the way, I saw Minnesota. I saw Kaprizov. That was awesome. Tocchet probably never takes times out because he's very cautious, coach, and is probably saving the timeout for just in case, except just in case never comes. It's true. I changed my tone after Frank Corrado went on Vancouver radio. He said the same thing with Tocchet. Okay. I do agree. I question some of his motives. I agree too. With that. Let me know when the fan appreciation thing, maybe I can get tickets beside you. That would be awesome. I honestly would love that. I would love that. Actually, the thing is, you get the tickets and then they give you where it is. So you're in the building. But maybe you and I can go together. Maybe that's what we can do. I don't know. Did you like my comment on Coach Rick Tocchet? Yes, I did. Seahawks versus Packers is going to be a crazy game. Have fun and dress warm. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to wear. And I know that sounds weird, but I've got this ugly Christmas sweater that's a Green Bay Packers thing. And I was thinking about wearing that because it's going to be so cold. But I don't know. It depends if it's raining. It's supposed to be like another windstorm this weekend. If you can talk to any current player one-on-one, who would it be? JT Miller, no doubt about it. And the reason why, most people would say Quinn Hughes. I think Quinn Hughes is too chill. I want someone like JT Miller, super interesting. So, Shannon, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Appreciate you. Do you think they will renew Tocchet's contract? He is in the last year. I do think they will. Kelly, welcome. Good to have you here as well. Gary, are you planning to apply to replace him or Coach Rob Willie? I have not applied for Tocchet's job. No, I haven't. No. I don't think I have the resume that I could do it. Like I said in the video, I'm not a coach. No, I'm not. I'm not a hockey coach. I'm just a fan who loves to talk about the game. Here's the thing. It's easy to criticize. I think Rick Tocchet is terrific. I think he's just struggling this year. That's what I think. So, but Coach Rob Willie would love to be the coach. So that'd be a hard job, though, wouldn't you think, Rob? What would he even say in practice? Good game, boys. No. I'm willing to wait to see how things turn out. In the second half of the season, there have been way too many moving parts going awry in the first half. I agree. That's a great comment. Great comment. Okay, everyone. I've really enjoyed connecting with you tonight. I think this is a good topic. I think this is a good discussion. If you like this kind of content, please hit like and subscribe. Please share it on your social media stuff as well. I'd appreciate it. Recommend any Canucks fan to come watch this content, to join the Canucks conversation. I love talking to everyone You guys, you girls are absolutely amazing. You got people from the Okanagan, you got people from Alberta, you got people from the island, you got people from right downtown, Lower Mainland as well. We've got people from New Zealand. We got Murray from New Zealand that comes in. We've got people from up north that come into the streams. It's really, really cool, and love it. I love it, everyone. I even have people from Saskatchewan that come in here. We've got David W. from Toronto who comes in. I really appreciate the fan base of the Canucks and joining the Canucks conversation with me. You guys are all awesome. I'm going to call it a night. I've got family here. I want to hang out with them, but I wanted to do this video real quick. I'm going to be on tomorrow night, post-game show, Florida Panthers, everyone. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening. And of course, always, why don't we do what we always do? No matter how frustrated or excited we get, we cheer this team on. We are faithful. Go Canucks, go.